Hey everyone, how's it going? Another knife skills video today. We're going to be talking about bell peppers. So bell peppers, whether they're orange, red, yellow, or green, the process by which you cut them is basically the same. I mean, in fact, most peppers, the process is going to be the same. So there's a couple ways you can core them. The way I used to do it is it's pretty simple. All you do is cut it in half, straight through the stem, right? You get these two halves, and then you can pull out the seeds, the stem, and the ribs that way. It works okay. The method that I use these days is to do it this way. I find it actually is a little bit faster and a little bit easier. So you hold the pepper upright by the stem like this, and you can see on the outside where these lines are. That's where the ribs are going to be on the inside. And so what you want to do is you want to align it so that one of those ribs is on the outside, is going to be on the outside of where your knife is. So I'm going to put my knife in here, and essentially I'm going to try and cut the pepper so that I remove the rib at the same time, and essentially like I'm kind of like filleting it down. And so the rib gets left behind there, and I just get the flesh. And you can just kind of work your way around. Right? And so then the stem, the ribs, and the seeds all come off together as one, and you end up with nice clean strips of pepper. Right? So whichever way you do it, whether you split it in half or you do that sort of filleting method, your next step is to cut it into whatever shape you want. So if we're doing strips for like a stir fry or a vegetable platter, obviously very simple. You can just cut it straight like that. Okay. Same thing here. Or if you want the, so here's where you can actually see why you might want to use this other method. There's this rib here that's still kind of remaining, so I'm going to have to kind of pull that out like that, using the tip of my knife. If you want your peppers to look sort of like the way a pepper looks in a video game, in like a cooking game where you have those rings, what you can do is you can take a paring knife, cut out the core, and just pull it out. I generally don't do that. I'll just do half peppers instead. But essentially, you just cut it the opposite direction. Instead of going pole to pole, you cut them orbitally. And you end up with your little pepper rings like that, so that they can look, you can make your pizza look the way the pizza looks on a video game. All right, so we got our pepper strips. For diced peppers, you can start by cutting it into strips like that and then cutting across them. What I find is a little bit easier is instead to take one big sort of fillet of pepper like that, and just like you'd be doing an onion, leave one part of it intact and use the tip of your knife to cut it into sort of long strips like that, right? And then everything is all intact in one piece, and then you can go across it this way much more easily. And you're left with this little strip at the bottom, and then you just go the other direction on that strip. So again, we're going to go lengthwise and then across. And then when we get down to the end, we just go across. So that's going to be the same whether it's a bell pepper, whether it's a green pepper, a red pepper. By the way, green pepper is just an unripe, other colored pepper. So if you let it sit on the vine long enough, it'll turn into one of these other peppers. Flavor-wise, green peppers are going to be a little sort of grassier, not quite as sweet because the sweetness hasn't developed yet, than a colored pepper. As far as your reds, greens, and yellows go, the flavors are going to be pretty similar. Although they can look nice, I guess. All right, so now I'm going to show you how to do a couple of sort of fancier techniques. Things that you might do if you were serving your peppers in a restaurant where having really nice, beautiful cuts and sort of perfect texture is important. So what I'm going to do is first show you how to skin a pepper. So you get a piece of pepper like this. Why you might want to skin a pepper just because the skin side can be a little bit tough, and when you're at a restaurant that serves old people who like to gum down their food, they don't want those tough pepper skins in there. So you're going to do it just basically the way you would skin a fish. So I'm going to take my a piece of pepper like this. I'm going to hold it flat, right, and then I'm going to take my knife and hold it horizontally, basically as flat as I can against the board. And I like to do it over the edge of the board so that my knuckles don't get in the way. I can get the knife really nice and flat parallel to the board. So I'm going to hold it flat like this with one hand, and then with the other hand, I'm just going to basically go across like that. right? And then you end up with a nice skinless piece of pepper, if you ever want a skinless piece of pepper. So with these, you can then slice it into really nice thin strips that could be, say, the garnish for a salad. Something like that, So if you've ever seen pepper strips like that at a restaurant, that's how they make them. Let me skin another piece of pepper and show you what else you can do. The final thing, which is a brunoise of pepper. So brunoise is a French word. It just basically means a very, 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 very fine dice. I'm going to square my pepper off here. Same thing. I'm going to peel it. Which you don't have to do unless you find it appealing. And then this time we're going to do the exact same thing as I did before when I was dicing the pepper, except we're going to do it in a much finer, much smaller size. So I'm going to basically, as thin as I can, use the tip of my knife and cut a series of parallel lines. And again, I'm using my fingers here, the knuckles of my non-knife hand as a guide to make sure that the knife strokes stay straight. Okay, so we have a nice sort of squared off piece of pepper where all of these pieces are of a nice even width, and then we're going to go across the other way. Okay, so you get this real fine, even dice. So, if you go to like a fancy restaurant, like if Daniel Boulud was making crab cakes, he might deign to mix his crab mixture with some finely diced peppers like this. Honestly, again, not a thing a home cook typically does, but there you go. That's how I do my peppers. You might do it a different way, and if you do, let me know. Guys, gals, non-binary pals, see you next time. Hey everyone, I hope you enjoyed the video. You can find the full article and recipe along with bonus content and my newsletter for free on my Patreon. Don't forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel for more videos like this, or my alternate channel, Kenji Lopez Main, for my dining content. And follow me on Instagram at Kenji Lopez-Alt for daily updates. You can also get signed and personalized copies of any of my books. That's The Food Lab, The Walk, or my children's book, Every Night is Pizza Night, shipped from Booklarder here in Seattle. Find the links to all of this, as well as all of the tools I used in today's video, in the description below. Thanks.